What's going on, everybody? How are you guys doing this Friday evening here? It's almost 7 o'clock. And I was like, what should I do? And I'm like, I had so many questions, personal questions that had come in over the last week and a half about many different things. A couple of them on homosexuality or masturbation and so on and so forth. And one of the bigger questions that had popped up into the feed is, and I already created a video on this, but it's still a good topic to discuss because many people don't understand how we got here, right? How did we become who we are or who we think we are right now, right? Hey there, how are you? Highway Runner, how you doing, girl? And how we got here. So how do we gain our autonomy? We're not really autonomous. That's the whole illusion of being here, right? So how do we get here? It goes back to the video that I did on fear, right? So let's go back to that. So imagine we're all home, which we truly still are right now. We're all still home. Absolutely. Absolutely. So just imagine we're all home right now, which we are, but we're all home, right? And God, Father, Source, all that is, oneness, all that I am, comes to us and asks us for something, right? He wants something from us. He wants us to create something. So as a collective consciousness, all of us that are on this planet right now, because we're all God, we're all gods, we're all creators, protectors, so on and so forth. When Father wants something from us, he comes to us and he asks something of us. And then we come together as a collective consciousness and we create it for him. Then one day, now this is to the person that asked me, how do we gain our autonomy, right? How do we get here? So one day after Father says this, we got the big idea of, I want to call the shots. I want to be the boss, so to speak, right? Now you can relate this story to a biblical passage in a minute. You'll understand it, right? So when he wants something from us, we come together as a collective consciousness and we create what Father wants, okay? The universe and everything that you know here is not from God, okay? Source. So we got the big idea one day. I've been asking my higher self a lot, and it takes time. So when you do your meditation, ask for your higher self to feel your higher self. Oh, absolutely. I've been asking. So we got the big idea one day to say, I want to call the shots. All right. And Father was like, yeah, you want to call the shots. Okay. So with that being said, when he allowed this to happen, three things immediately happened. We all can, absolutely. Three things happened. We created fear, guilt, and the ego. The moment we decided to say, I am not one with you anymore, I'm an individual, it instantly created those three things, all of which everyone listening here or will listen to this at some point in time will understand that it created fear, guilt, and the ego. With that being said, we went upon creating what we wanted to experience. Because now imagine this, before I get into the rest. Imagine the most beautiful white room, okay? The most magnificent, pure, innocent, laced with gold, the most brilliant white room, all right? Hi, guys. What are your thoughts on hell? I will get to that in a minute. I did a video on hell. You should go and watch it, Andrew. All right? but I can talk about it here in a minute. So imagine this white room, right? The ceiling is white, the floor is white, the walls are white. The most magnificent white, right? Now you're in that room too, and you're the exact same color white. How do you know you're white? You don't, right? Because if all you know is that you've been this color, you don't know anything else to compare it to, right? So we come here, it's the same with love. All we know is love, oneness with Father. That's all we know. We were created out of love, by love from Father. We are the direct manifestations of our Father, God's, imbued with the same love, light, and creative abilities as our Father. All right. So we came here to experience everything that is not love. Okay. Because we don't know anything else but love. So some of the things that we are experiencing are pretty harsh, pretty bad. We don't like them, right? But we as humans, once we got here, because we forgot who we are, right? We began to label things good, bad, right, or wrong. They don't exist. It's simply an experience that you guys are going through, that I went through. I went through horrible things in my life, horrible things. And I blamed God for hating me, which wasn't the case. I was creating it myself through negative energy, through lower vibration stuff. So when we stepped away from oneness is when we got our autonomy. And most of us will say, raise their hand, I'm not having fun. This sucks. Okay, this really sucks. Well, you're the one that chose this. You chose to be here. Your Father, God, oneness, does not want you here. It's not why he created you. He created you to stay home with him. The fact that you're sitting here listening to this broadcast is the ultimate act of love from your Father, from God. He does not, let me repeat this, he does not have to allow this in any way, shape, or form. Okay? That is the ultimate act of love from your Father. Whatever you ask for is what you have. Correct? Your thoughts create your physical world that you see. Your thoughts are powerful. They come into creation. Fear, period. End of subject. So you know it in the Bible as being booted out of heaven, right? When we decided to come here, we weren't kicked out of heaven. We just decided to go on this messed up delusional dream that we're in. Okay. So, you know it in the history books, all you see is black space. And then all of a sudden you see one massive explosion and the universe is created, right? That's us dreaming. That's what we have created. So when people say, Jason, evil exists. No, it doesn't. God did not create this. These are not God's rules. You have to understand this, everybody, okay? God did not create the universe. We did. We're all at home dreaming this. All the eclipses that you've seen, the lunar and the solar eclipses recently, that's us dreaming. That is our power. Do you understand that, ladies and gentlemen, how powerful you are? You are a God of immense power and love, all right? You've just forgotten who you are. That's it. And that's why Jesus came here, to wake us up. Look, people, wake up, realize who you are. We don't need to be doing this crap anymore. Stop. Love is everything. That's who you are. So, to whoever wrote that, watch my video on that, on fear. I go into more detail on our autonomy and how we got here. So we'll go in a little further, okay? Is when you stood before God, you had a contract, okay? Contract. You stood before God with your archangel and your guides and your, what you call an overlord or a supervisor, who is specifically given to you for your absolute spiritual growth. And I don't like using spirits because we're not that. For your growth, your knowledge, and your ascension. So he stays with you for all of eternity. So he's in charge. right? So you all stand before God and you show him what you want to experience. All right. You do not incarnate on this planet or anywhere else for that matter without Father's approval, period. No matter how bad mom and dad are giving it the business, it's a no-go until Father says, okay, that's fine. So once you sign that contract, listen to me very carefully, everybody, you will complete that contract. All right. Meaning it's going to take you thousands of lifetimes to accomplish. You will not accomplish it in one lifetime. It is impossible. Impossible. So when people say, I'm done after this life, I'm not coming. No, you will come back. There is an absolute guarantee until you become enlightened like Jesus in his last hoorah here, because you only know him as Jesus. Prior to that, he had thousands of other lifetimes too. All right. But until that moment, you will incarnate again and keep finishing what you came here to do. So the more you don't face, you have to face your fears, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what they are, however they terrify you. You have to face them because they are literally your salvation, right? Because if you don't and you die in this lifetime or you transition home and you didn't accomplish that, right? In your next incarnation, you're going to stand with your overlord and you're going to review your last life and you go, okay, I need to work on this, this, and this. You're going to incorporate that into your next timeline. And that incorporation is going to be 10 times as hard until you face it. You have to face your fears, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you, while I've been doing it, it is brutally hard. It's going to be the hardest things you have to do. You have to relive those moments that have broken you and where you began to hate and despise people. Say if you were raped or molested or whatever, you have to go back and relive that. You have to face it, and then you have to forgive. It's the hardest thing you will ever have to do, guys. But that is how we gained our autonomy. We just simply said, I want to be the boss. I want to call the shots. And let me tell you, how are we doing with that, ladies and gentlemen? We've messed it up so bad that within 10 years, I don't want to talk about the doom and gloom, but that's going to come. And then, you know, we need to start loving each other like right now. My husband never knew how much he needed her. That was the best thing. That's beautiful, hon. Good for you. I love it. Keep loving like that. I mean, loving unconditionally like that is raising your vibration. It's sending out all that love into the universe. It's sending out all that love into your past lives, which is called the ripple effect. It's affecting those lives. And that is what you want to do. Love and forgive. Absolutely. Jesus spoke it his entire existence on this plane. That's all he spoke of. Love one another. Love yourself. It's the key. Love is everything. Love will crush the darkness. It will crush everything. It is simple. It will fix all our problems. All right. So another question that was brought up is pornography. Now, if you guys watched my video, is homosexuality a sin or is it forbidden? It's not. All right. But that's not what I'm going to get into right now. Pornography, and I used it my whole life because I thought it was safe. Hey, I'm not cheating on my wife, or I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. I'm safe. Well, wrong. Was I judged? No. I judged myself. But it is condemned, and I will tell you why. 2 reasons. 1, pornography is run by the ego. Remember what I said about the ego? The ego is a false belief in your identity. Okay. And the ego does 3 things. It attacks, it condemns, and it judges with malicious intent. All right. So the ego is dark energy. And what is that dark energy keeping you from? From your true sexual identity. All right. Your true sexual energy. What is that? When you are mating with your partner, now it does not matter whether it's heterosexual or homosexual. or same sex. It does not matter. Love is everything. All right. So when you're mating and you're swapping bodily fluids and you're wrapped up in each other's arms and you've forgotten the world and you've forgotten all the bills and all your stress and it's all gone, you are connecting with your higher self and you are connecting with God. Okay. Home. Your sexual energy takes you home. It was given to you by your Father, by God, as a way home. The same thing with our guidance system. When your guidance system and you are aligned with it and you are aligned with love and happy and joyful and crying and all of that, you are aligned with home. So pornography denies you that access to home, and the non-physical wants to see you mating. Why? It's the highest frequency there is. Love, empathy, caring. It is very important for us to mate. They want to see it and they want you to go home. They want you to connect with home. So when you see your partner, and some of you in the female vehicles have experienced this, I know you have, where you have rolled your eyes in the back of your head, you arched your back and you let out a guttural grunt and you just withered into something and you rolled over on your side. Tears are coming down. You're searching for your partner because all you want is for them to hold you. Why? Because you just went somewhere. You can't describe it. You were not on this planet anymore. You were gone. Well, guess where you went? Home. Okay? It is your God-given right to make love. The church has denied that for millennia, and they know it. It's your straight shot home. That is why they condemned sex and said it was a sin. They knew it. How? They gathered up all of Yeshua's teachings. Yeshua was a master in the tantric arts, in lovemaking, in the body, in everything. It's what he was teaching. It was called control. The church is controlling all of you. They know it. So that is why pornography is condemned. Don't watch it, to all the males that are watching it. And I'm sure females watch it too. Don't watch it. Jesus does not want you watching it. All right? He wants you making love with your partner. No alcohol involved, no drugs, no nothing, but one-on-one contact. Lots of foreplay, gentlemen. The female vehicles need to be warmed up a lot. Lots of kissing. They want to see you making out. Kissing, swapping bodily fluids, touching her, rubbing her, biting her. Okay? Everything. It is beautiful, and they're loving every minute of it. Just do not watch pornography. Guys, I know we're visual seekers. We like to see. You're a God. Start creating your scenarios right up here, which are perfectly normal. All right? Use it. So that is why pornography is condemned. And this person just couldn't understand it. And I explained it 3 times, and it's just like, what are you trying to say? Well, explain it. I don't watch pornography. It's condemned, and it keeps you from your true sexual energy. All right. So anybody got some questions for me? Oh, hell. So let's go to hell. Andrew, hell. Hell does not exist. And now the next thing you're going to say, well, I've seen hundreds of NDEs that explain hell. No, you've watched hundreds, or let's say a few 20 or 30 videos that have explained that they went to hell. Okay, so let's talk about the void. I've been in the void twice after my NDE. The void, when they talk about utter blackness, and it is, okay, it is vast and it is beyond what you can ever possibly imagine. It is pitch black. There's nothing to be seen. It'd be like somebody sewing your eyes shut, putting patches over it, and burying you 50 feet underground. Okay, that's the darkness that I'm talking about here. All right. So when you're, say you transitioned home, okay, let's use Howard Storm because that's a great example. All right. When he was yelling at his wife, when he finally died, and he's sitting there, if you've watched After Death, and he's screaming at his wife, "Can't you hear me? Hello, 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 hello." He's just like, "Am I dead? I can't be dead. I have a great job. I make a lot of money. I have a good house. I have all these cars. I'm a professor," right? He's stuck in the material world. All right? He's stuck and he's scared. Fear. What is fear? Fear is a low vibration. It is low vibration. So as he's stuck in this low vibrational void, which he's creating the whole hospital scene, he's a god, remember, he's creating, right? All of a sudden, all these black hooded figures come and grab him and start gnawing at him and tearing him apart, right? Leading him out. And he's screaming and he's terrified. He's trying to think of something. And then God, our Father, help, God, Jesus. And all of a sudden, boom, right? The light comes. How did that happen? He raised his vibration. He raised his energy. He called out to God. He called out to Jesus. He called out in love. Whoop, he went from the bottom to the top, just like that. And the light came and got him. And he experienced a beautiful near-death experience on going home, right? It's your state of mind. Hell, it does not exist. All right? There are no fallen angels. It is impossible for an angel to fall. Impossible for an angel to fall. They were created to take care of us. That's their only job, angels, is to take care of us and watch us. Hell is simply a state of mind. You can create hell in the physical world. You can create bipolar. You can create cancer. If you believe cancer exists, if somebody says, does cancer exist? Well, of course it does. Well, then there it does. How did that happen? You're a god. If you say cancer exists, you give it power. Therefore, it is going to come to you. Let's see. Buddha and Mara. Is there any truth in that story? That would be too long for me to discuss. Now, I can make that into a video if you want, but it's always distorted by anytime something comes through a human vehicle, all right, through this body, it's liable to be distorted, okay? And over time, as what the church did to what they wrote into the Bible, it is heavily distorted in their favor. So you really have to trust your intuition when you are reading something. If something is telling you it's not right, that's your higher self. You're in tune with your guidance system, and your higher self is telling you, nah. So guys, I'm going to put a banner down here. That will allow you to get into the studio. If anybody wants to come in and have a little one-on-one with me, copy that and paste it into your your thingy up there, and then I can allow you into the studio. So I'll let it go by one more time, and then we'll get back to it. So hell is simply a state of mind. If you choose to live in darkness, if you choose to live in pain, if you choose to live in that suffering, then that's all that is going to come to you. Okay? All right, guys, hold on. It was like I rationally understood this, but I couldn't get rid of the darkness inside that I couldn't connect with until I had a QHT session and connected to it. Understood it. Good. Yeah, I'm going to have a QHT session because I've been asking about my past lives because I've died over 3,200 times. So I'm like, I've got to connect. I think that's going to really boost me into where I need to go. So, yeah, it's those ads coming up within a couple months. I'm going to do it. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying is you know, God's not going to come down here and pick you up and say, come on now. If you choose to live in the pain and suffering and the darkness, then that is where you're going to sit. Okay? He's not going to come down here. You have free will. From the time you came out of mom, you're going to have that free will to sit and suffer. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it big time. So I think it was like $325, and it's going to be like a half a day. Or that she said I'll be, in a trance for like 3 or 4 hours. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. So we'll get it going. So who else has got some questions for me? Come on into the studio. Let's have a chat. What else? I wanted to say something else. I had a rough day today, so I was like kind of crabby, and I'm like, what can I do? I was like, you know what? Let's hash this out tonight on live. I like surprising you guys. So it makes it much more easier to chat when I know you guys will eventually pop in. I have my few, local diehards that I love. I love all of you, but yeah, what else would I want to say? Yeah, so God does not want us here in any way, shape, or form. He wants us home. And let me tell you something, okay? This is without doubt. He is looking forward to your return with the utmost haste. He knows the exact trillionth of a second you are coming home. All right? So, evil, what I was saying before, is evil and cruelty do not exist. For somebody to say that evil exists, they don't know who God is. All right? And I mean that with absolute sincerity. If anybody says, well, evil does exist, look at these wars, beheading of the babies, these mass shootings. And they say, why didn't God do anything? And I said, you're not prepared for the answer that I'm going to give you. All right? You're not prepared for it. And they say, when I say cruelty and evil is a gift, humanity gave itself, nothing more, nothing more. And God did answer you on the mass shootings and these wars and the beheading of babies. As I said earlier in our autonomy, God did not create this place. And these are not God's rules. He is not going to jump in and interfere. He will not do it. It's up to us to change. We have to take that step and love one another unconditionally, without question, because that person and all of you watching me is just another version of myself that I am projecting out onto the world. We're all one. Okay? All of you listening to me are me, and me are all of you. We're projectors. What we're dreaming is being projected out into what we call physical reality, right? Through our avatars. And that's it. I had a past life regression, and the person who was doing it was not a professional in it. Well, I'm going to do this one is a professional, I think a level 3. So I'm definitely going to do the QHHT. So yeah. What else did I want to touch on? There was something else, and now I'm having a major brain fart. All right, here, we'll do it again if any of you guys want to come in. Oh, that's what I talked about. Somebody asked me, I did a video, it just hasn't been put out yet, so I'll briefly touch on this. Somebody asked me to talk about the fires of Gehenna. And I thought that was a very good topic to talk about, because in essence, that is what the Catholic Church used to create hell. So what were the fires of Gehenna? Which is, again, is a very good question. So, have any of you guys heard about that? Yeah, well, this one is only 325. All right. So the fires of Gehenna. What were the fires of Gehenna? And this was 2 millennia ago, okay? The fires of Gehenna was basically a garbage dump a few miles outside of Jerusalem 2 millennia ago. Jesus talked about it. And what they were was a garbage dump that was consistently burning for also millennia, for millennia. And it's also where child sacrifices were being taken place on a pretty consistent basis. And these fires never went out for millennia. This garbage dump, this garbage heap never went out. So it was what you would call eternal, right? So while Jesus was there and watching these sacrifices take place, and these bodies of these children being thrown on this, massive garbage dump, this heap of garbage, he made the statement to the powers that be was, how would you like it if your body burned for eternity? Right? Because the fires never went out. So he used the term eternity. And it was to say, we need to stop doing this. Right? This is not acceptable. So when the church began to write the Bible, because by the time of Christ, the Jews had not finally decided on what were going to be the canonical scriptures of the Old Testament or the Hebrew scriptures that you know of, right? So when the Catholic Church took over the writings, and I think the first copy of that Masoretic text was around the year 100 AD, they used his terminology, right? They used that eternal fire that you are going to burn in, right? Thus creating the illusion of hell, right? How would you like it? You're going to be banished if you F up into a lake of fire. Well, they choose a garbage dump instead of a heap of garbage into a lake of fire. So that is where the Catholic Church got hell from. A garbage dump. And Jesus didn't like the fact that they were killing and murdering children to sacrifice to gods and throwing them on this garbage dump like they were effing garbage. But thus the Catholic Church turned it into hell, a lake of fire where you will be cast into for effing up here, which, as we all know, doesn't exist. But that is where the true lake of fire, or the pit of damnation and eternal burning, came from. The fires of Gehenna was nothing more than an ancient garbage dump that had burned for millennia. And that is where the Catholic Church christened hell. And that is where you will go. And it has terrified all of you for millennia. And that is one place that I should have gone in this timeline. Okay? That's exactly where I knew I was going. And it doesn't exist. It simply does not exist. It exists in your mind. Remember who you are. You are a God. And I am here to wake all of you up to the fact that you are gods and that it does not exist. Live in love. Live in the highest vibration there is. Choose love. No matter what has happened to you, no matter what situation you're in or how unhappy you are, choose love. It is the only thing that matters. How come that God who tells us to forgive others is judging people to hell? God is not judging anybody to hell. That's what I'm telling you. There is no hell. God does not judge. There is no judgment on anybody. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, Adolf Hitler is at home. There is no judgment. Vladimir Putin is going to go home. Jeffrey Dahmer is going to go home. Who was another one in the 70s that I had to be? John Wayne Gacy. He is at home. There is no hell. There is no judgment. Everyone goes home. That's the illusion. It's part of the game. You're so wrapped up in something that doesn't exist. This world does not exist. You're creating it through your own thoughts at home. This is all a video game. It's an illusion. This vehicle that you're in is a hologram. It doesn't exist. When we're done with it, we shut it down. We shut all the vitals down, and we simply, we leave it like snakes shed our skin, and we want nothing to do with it. We're gone. We go home. And then when it's time to come back into another life, you'll incarnate backwards into another life. You'll review this one, and then off you go. And again, you'll forget who you are. In my next incarnation, I may be a female. Why? I need to clean some stuff up in a previous, life. And I'll incarnate again and forget who I am, what I am, and go through this all over again. You will continue to do it until you can learn how to love and forgive. Period. You have to face your fears, everybody. You have to face your fears. It is vital. That is how could you imagine just walking on a beach all day and, okay, well, I'm done with this life. And the next life, you just walk on a beach and fly through the water. No, you're going to create very hard obstacles for yourself. You have to. It's the only way you're going to learn, right? Yeah. Are they unpleasant? Of course. But I chose the abuse when I came here. I chose to be abused. Why? Clearly, I needed to learn forgiveness. And it's even 4 years after my death, it still took me 4 years to forgive my parents on the abuse that I went through, even after my NDE. That is how powerful hate and fear is. But I had to face it. I sat on this very couch sobbing for over an hour, reliving each one of those brutal moments. And I had to forgive them. And I felt the weight of the world get ripped out of me. The non-physical took it. Done. Gone. I don't have to worry about it anymore. That is something I will never have to face again. It is hard, but you have to do it. You have to do it. They are not going to come down here. When I mean they, the non-physical, and pick you up and pat you on the butt and dust you off and say, come on now, let's go. We got to do it. No. If you choose to sit in that pain and agony and hate, then that is where you will sit. And you'll transition home. Next life, you will pick up right where you left off in this one, and you will face it all over again. Okay? You have to do it. There is no hell. There is no judgment by Jesus, by God, by angels. You are protected. You are never in any trouble at all, in any way, shape, or form. You are surrounded by love. You are love. But it's your job to spread that love. It is your job to forgive. So whatever situation you're going through, whether it's financial, whether it's medical, whether it's you were beaten by a husband or a wife or whatever, you have to step out of that situation, right? And you have to look at it. You have to analyze it, and then you have to forgive them. And not only that, but you have to forgive yourself for allowing yourself to sit in that anger and hate for so long, right? Like as a male vehicle, I don't know what it's like to be raped. I don't know. I can't even begin to imagine it, the horror, right? But if that happened to me and I suppressed it for 40 years, suppressing it is not fixing it, right? And if you suppressed it and then you died, you're still going to face that in your next life. Let's see, who do we got here? Hi. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I went to the Phoenix Ions show since you mentioned it before in a live stream. I don't believe you were there, but after all, I'm still very... Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't get a chance to go to this one, but hopefully I will be at the next one. I really want to get there. I want to speak. So I'll have my opportunity. It just wasn't meant to be this time. So that's okay. I'm glad you went though, because hopefully you heard some really good things and you learned a few things there, not just from me, but, from others who've had magnificent near death experiences and those that have had dark experiences. Those are just as important too, because you have to understand that it's your frame of mind. When you leave your body, if you're not in a good place and you're angry, mad, or upset, you will not, let me repeat, you will not have a beautiful NDE until you raise your vibration into love. Okay? You will not. So that's good that you went. I'm glad. So remember why I had such a beautiful NDEs, because I was crying out to God. I love you, Father. I am so sorry, right? My vibration and my energy was through the roof. And I experienced one of the most beautiful experiences of my life going home, being held by God. My energy was through the roof. But those that, have dark NDEs, their energy is too low. You cannot bring anything from this physical realm into home. See, Chicago is real close to me. It's only 80 miles away. So that is a little over an hour drive. So that's not bad. If it's in Chicago, definitely I will be there without doubt. Without doubt. Here, so we'll do this again, guys. Here we go. Anybody wants to come into the studio? There's the way to get in. Yeah, if it's in Chicago, then I can definitely do it without doubt. So type that into your www dot there and follow the instructions, and you can come in and sit with me and ask me a couple questions. One more time through, but yeah, I definitely want to go to one of them. All right, here we go. Sorry, guys. Comments. Of course, you can stop the troubles, but you have to love. Okay, who has ever harmed you, whether it was in a marriage, say he belittled you and he was demeaning you and he was abusing you, maybe even sexually. Okay, you have to remember that you chose to experience these things, and so that husband or soulmate that you asked to do this to you, okay, you simply ask them. The people that are in your life right now, guys, okay, that they're in your life, they're not there by chance or coincidence. Okay, you simply asked them to be a part of your delusional dream, and they said, okay, I'll do it for you. Your children are not your children. They are not. They are God's. They simply love you enough to take part in your dream, your delusion. Okay, in a previous life, your children may have been your parents, and better yet, they may have murdered you. Okay, we're all role playing for one another. So yes, you can stop your troubles and you can start to live in love. Hello there, UK. How are you doing? To a certain extent, yes, you plan your life. So it's preconceived. You will get married. You will experience marriage. You will experience children or whatever it is that you want to experience. Okay. You will hit those mile markers without doubt. But how you get to those mile markers is your free will. Okay. So say at the age of 18, I don't know if you're, male or female, but say at some point in time, you wanted to experience being raped. Right? So you're jogging along as an 18-year-old in college and it's evening, getting into dusk. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to get raped. Why? That's something that you wanted to experience. Okay? The justice system, if you're talking from home, there is none. But what has to change is everybody needs to wake up and realize that everybody's existence here is their own. We do not have the right to judge somebody for what they want to experience. But because most of society in the world, except most of all of you that are here, right, who are beginning to awaken or are awakening to the fact that, look, I'm not a male, I'm not a female, I'm a God, I am ascending into a higher form of consciousness. You're getting it, right? But for the vast majority of the world, they're lost in the darkness. They think this is real. So that is why it is important that I get this message out to all of you that none of this is real. Money isn't real. We created a system of slavery and abuse on one another. And Jesus came here to break that up. Wake up, realize who you are. This stuff doesn't have to exist. Money doesn't have to exist. That's not why we came here. We came here to experience everything that's not at home. We came here to be artists, poets, dreamers, painters, lovers, right? We came here to experience a physical world, not to create hell, abuse, neglect, all of the things that we put ourselves through, like a 40-hour work week. This wasn't meant to happen. Okay? And if we came here with the ability to love, right? None of this would be taking place. We would all be walking around without our clothes on. Why do we have clothes on? Goes back to what I said about fear, right? Fear, guilt, and the ego. We're ashamed of ourselves, and God wants to know why. This comes directly from God. Why are you all wearing clothes? Why am I sitting here with clothes on? I'm ashamed of myself. To all the females watching this, what's on your chest and between your legs is no different than the other 7 billion females out there. So what are you wearing clothes for? You're ashamed of yourself. You don't want, it's only for one specific little person in your life, right? Well, that's not who we are, ladies and gentlemen. We were meant to love one another and be loved. Go forth and multiply, right? Make love, right? That's what I told you earlier, that the non-physical wants to see us mating. Why? It's the highest form of frequency there is, which is love. And God does not recognize the laws that we have created here. They're abusive. They're cruel. And if he thinks that he's going to look at your marriage certificate and say, this is binding you for all eternity in this physical realm, it's a joke. He doesn't. So if any one of you have stepped outside of what you deemed your marriage to have an affair because you love that person, God is going, hey, you're getting it, love. Okay? I had an affair. I knew I was doomed. The Catholic Church said I was doomed. I had bisexual experiences. I knew I was doomed. Well, guess what? It didn't exist. And in fact, Father, when I was praying about my twin flame, saying, please don't take her from me, is when my NDE took place. So God does not recognize any of the laws, including your marriage, in any way, shape, or form. If you love someone and you two decide to make love and be one, then it is absolutely wonderful. And Father is loving every minute of it. So our laws are oppressive. We need to change. And we need to change now because, like I said before, World War III is coming. It is coming. Within 10 years, about 10 years, it'll be here. That war will last 7 years. I'm not going to say where. It's going to start out in the East. One of two things is going to happen. A country is going to invade another country, and yes, I do know who they are. Or and this is the one that I believe is really going to happen, is a natural disaster is going to happen. And you saw the hurricane here in the States. So you know what's coming. Our weather is changing. So this natural disaster is going to be massive. And the world was going to fight over the last remaining resources, food, shelter, okay? And in that 7-year war, we are going to decimate the planet, all right? Earth is going to be decimated. There will be very little inhabitable drinking water and or food. And in that next 30 to 40 years, okay, after the war, you're going to watch 7 billion people starve to death. Babies, mothers, fathers, grandparents, everything. You are all going to die a very miserable death. And we have no one to blame. And yes, your Father in heaven is going to watch it. Jesus is going to watch it. They will not come down here. We have to fix it ourselves. And this is what I am trying to stop. This is what I'm trying to teach all of you. Love one another. It doesn't matter. When you're in the grocery store, smile. Good morning. Whether they smile at you back or not, it doesn't matter. Spread love. When you're at Starbucks, good, and she says, good morning, what would you like? Hi, good morning, how are you? I hope you have a blessed day. Smile. Let them know that they are worth something, that they are beautiful. We can stop what is coming, but we have to do it. All right? And I don't want to stay on doom and gloom, but it is coming. And I've heard other people talk about it too. I'm not the only one. So it's coming. What else you guys got for me? I love you guys so much. I just want you to know that. Oh, another thing, probably by the next time you might possibly see a live stream, I am creating sweatshirts. So you'll see a prototype sweatshirt come out. So you'll see it, and I'll show you the front and the back, and I will start adding, if I get enough yays, I'll add the merch to it so you guys can get that. So be on the lookout for that when I'm doing my videos. I'm going to give it to my video editor and have him add that in there for you guys. Let's see, but it's on. Let's see. But if it's all preconceived, so there is no need to try and stop anything. Yes, you can change because what you do right now matters. It will change the past. It will, like I spoke before, it's called the ripple effect. When you are living in love and you are living in, well, the only thing that's preconceived, bud, is the experiences that you wanted to experience. Okay? That's it. But how you get to those experiences, like getting into college, right? You can be a belligerent bastard your whole life until you get into college, right? It's how you choose to get to those mile markers. It does matter what you do. It does matter if somebody hit you in a car accident, say, and you got out of the car and he punched you and kicked you and beat you because you hit his car. It matters. And we do have a soul plan. That's why we came here. And why will we keep incarnating? So it does matter because everything, like this guy said, is taking place right now. Past, present, future. Well, the past doesn't exist in the future. Everything is now. That's what Jesus said in the Bible. Don't worry about yesterday. You can't change it. Why? It doesn't exist. Don't worry about tomorrow. It hasn't come. Right? Live right now. Because he's telling you that is the only thing that matters. It's the only thing taking place in the entire universe right now. That means Jesus' execution, his crucifixion, is taking place right now. World War II is taking place. The Battle of Syracuse, World War I, so on and so forth. The Civil War is still being fought. Until we can fix everything and bring it into oneness and love, we will continue to incarnate into and fix our, what you call, past lives. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Beautifully said. Absolutely beautiful. So yes, it does matter, guys. It does. It's the ripple effect. I told you, if you don't face those fears, they will come into your next life. So face them, challenge them. They are challenges. They're hard. They're meant to be there. You put them there. Nobody else did. God has a plan for you. No, God does not want you here at all. And like I said, he is eagerly awaiting your return. He wants you home with him. But we got this messed up idea of being the boss, and look at the mess we got ourselves into. We have to fix this. And I am doing my part, and I will continue to do it. And I know big things are coming for me. I can feel the change. So And that's why I keep putting out these videos. That's why I keep doing these live streams. I want this all to sink into you until you realize that when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to choose love. No matter what happens to me, I am going to choose love. If somebody punches me, hey, I'm sorry. I love you, but I'm going to, I choose love. I choose all of you. I love all of you more than you could ever possibly know. Like I said before many times, I'm not doing this for me. I can be just fine sitting here meditating, creating my beautiful work, but that's not what I came here for. I came here for all of you. And it was made abundantly clear after my NDE what my mission was. And that's why I had my near-death experience. It put me back on track to where I needed to be. Wow. All right, couple more questions. If anybody's got one more question, I didn't realize it was this late already. I could talk to you guys for hours. One more question. What you guys got? Somebody's got to have something. So I'll put this out there, and then I'll leave it off of this because a couple people that just messaged me about abortion and left some messages. You too, you as well. So I want all of you who have known somebody in the female vehicles, or if this has happened to you, if you've had an abortion. Well, how can we remember our past lives? That takes a lot. There's a reason why you can't remember them, because you wouldn't go through with your current life. But through QHHT regression, which is what I'm going to go through in the next month or two, through deep meditation, deep meditation. Sometimes that may take you may meditate for 6 to 8 hours straight, but you really have to go in and concentrate. And then you can, when you leave and join oneness, then you can see your past lives. But it takes a lot of practice for that. And I'm not even close to being there yet. So, but try the QHHT. Let's see. Is there a probable divergent path where we avert crisis by learning? Of course. Right now we are going through the 5D consciousness, right? And it's simply that. It's a consciousness shift. We are going from a lowered vibration to a much higher vibration, and we are going into a different dimension, okay? A higher vibrational state. As I said, in our bodies are changing from carbon-based to crystalline-based. We are absorbing a much higher vibrational light. We're being bombarded with them right now, all right? So that's why you think the world is going nuts, because it is in a way, because a lot of people are ascending. They're becoming smarter. They're moving into a new dimension. So, but in that, remember to remain in love. And yes, we can avert what is coming. It absolutely. And that is why I am doing this. We need to love one another. Jesus said it, love one another, love yourself. If you guys cannot love yourself, and you have to be real with yourself, all right? You have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, do I love myself? And if there's the slightest hesitation, you do not. And that is where you have to begin in order to love. Because if you can't love yourself, how can you love your children or your parents or anybody that you say I love you to, which is then in essence a lie, because you don't. You don't even love yourself. So you have to start there. Okay? And Jesus made it abundantly. Love yourself. Love your neighbor like yourself. If you don't love yourself, you have no idea what love is, nor can you love your own children. And that is where the problems start, because you don't know what love is. Love is everything, ladies and gentlemen. And I've explained it before. If, like, I play bass, right? And I love music. That's the love of my life. That is a loving relationship. And therefore, it's the love of my life. Everything you do is a relationship from the time you awaken every morning. It's a relationship. So learn to love everybody. And I will leave it on that note. I love you all so very much. Hopefully next time you'll see me, I'll have some shirts for you guys to take a look at and see if you want. I'm going to be not only doing hoodies, but regular shirts. So just coming up with ideas. You'll see them because I'll be wearing them in my videos. You're more than welcome. I love all of you so very much. And I hope you all have a blessed weekend. I'm going to do a video this weekend, so you should see that come out too, as well as this. Tracy, hi, hon. I love you being here. Thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. I love you guys. I love being with you guys, and I could talk to you guys for hours. I truly could. Maybe one day I'll set up a big Zoom where we can all sit and we can have, a big powwow. But I hope you guys have a blessed weekend. Listen to this, again, if you need to. And I will see you next time. I love all of you so very much. Thank you for your love and support. And for all of you who have supported this channel financially, I am beyond blessed and honored. All right. I love you all so very much. And I hope you have a blessed weekend, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys. Mwah.